The scent of pine and cold winter air clings to me like a shroud. It is the scent of the outsider, the scent of the wild woods I am forced to call my home because I have no other. Here, in the damp earth and under the skeletal fingers of ancient trees, I am just another creature trying to survive the night. In the Shadow Moon Pack, I was less than that. I was Ilara, the wolfless Omega, a walking wound, a constant reminder of a genetic failing no one could forgive. My wolf has never stirred, never woken. My inner world is silent where others have a raging beast. I am incomplete, a hollow shell in a world defined by primal strength. Being an Omega is a life of scraps and shadows. Being a wolfless Omega is a curse. I ate last, if I ate at all. I slept in the coldest part of the communal den, curled small to conserve warmth that no one would share. My existence was a whisper, easily ignored, and I learned early that silence was my only shield. To be seen was to be scorned. To speak was to be mocked. So I faded into the background, a ghost haunting the edges of pack life, my hunger a constant gnawing ache in my belly. But a foolish, desperate part of me still held on to a sliver of hope, a hope so thin it was transparent, yet it persisted. The annual choosing ceremony, the night a new alpha, having proven his strength, would stand before the pack. The night the moon goddess was said to reveal fated mates, binding the pack's future in unbreakable bonds of scent and soul. My hope was not to be chosen by some powerful warrior. It was simpler, more pathetic. I hoped for a kind glance, a shared piece of bread from a low-ranked male, someone who might see past the void inside me and find something worth acknowledging. I never dreamed of the Alpha. Alpha Kale was power made flesh. He had won his rank through brutal, undeniable strength. His scent of wood smoke and crackling lightning a storm that commanded respect from every wolf. He was everything I was not, dominant, revered, whole. When he stepped onto the choosing rock, the moonlight catching the silver streaks in his dark hair, a hush fell over the assembled pack. His gaze swept over us, sharp and assessing. And then it stopped, on me. The world tilted on its axis. A jolt, electric and searing, shot through my body, from the crown of my head to the soles of my bare feet. It was a current of pure energy, waking nerves I never knew I possessed. Then came the scent. His scent, which had always been a distant threat, now zeroed in on me, a physical force that wrapped around me, pulling me in. Wood smoke and lightning, yes, but underneath something more. Something meant only for me. Rain on hot stone. A scent of home. My own scent, pine and winter air, which I had always found so lonely, suddenly felt like the missing half of a song. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat of terror and impossible, soaring hope. Mate. The word was not a thought, but a feeling, a certainty that bloomed in the barren landscape of my soul. He stared at me, his nostrils flaring. I saw the shock in his eyes, the raw disbelief. His inner beast, I knew, was roaring at him, recognizing its other half. For a breathless moment, the entire pack was frozen, watching the alpha's gaze lock onto the pack's lowest member. I saw his jaw clench, his hands ball into fists at his sides. The hope in my chest swelled, painful and bright. He would see me. He would accept me. The goddess had chosen. I would no longer be the wolfless Omega. I would be his. Then his expression hardened. The shock curdled into something cold, something calculating. He looked away from me, toward his council of elders, their faces etched with disapproval. He looked at the pack, at the ambitious females preening in the front rows, their scents thick with cloying sweetness. He looked at his own reflection in their eyes, the strong, perfect alpha, and then he looked back at me, and the last ember of warmth in his gaze was gone, replaced by a chilling resolve. He raised his hand, silencing the whispers that had begun to ripple through the crowd. His voice, when it came, was not a lover's call, but a judge's sentence. It boomed across the clearing, each word a stone cast at my fragile heart. I, Alpha Kale of the Shadow Moon Pack, he began, his tone like ice, reject you. The world stopped. The air crystallized in my lungs. My blood turned to slush in my veins. He wasn't just speaking to me. He was performing for his audience, cementing his power on the anvil of my humiliation. I reject you, Ilara, he continued, spitting my name like a curse, as my mate and my Luna. A collective gasp went through the pack, followed by a wave of cruel, satisfied murmurs. He took a step forward, his shadow falling over me, extinguishing the moonlight. You are wolfless. Another stone. You are weak. A boulder crushing my spine. He leaned in, his voice dropping to a growl that was for me alone, laced with a disgust that burned worse than any fire. You are nothing. The bond, newly formed and blazing with celestial light, fractured. The pain was physical, a blade of pure agony twisting in my gut. It felt like my soul was being torn in two, ripped from my body with vicious force. A strangled cry escaped my lips, a sound of an animal caught in a trap. I stumbled back, clutching my chest. The scent of him now, an acrid poison in the air. Laughter rippled through the pack. They saw my pain, and they reveled in it. It affirmed their own worth, their own place in the hierarchy, to see the Omega so thoroughly broken. But he was not finished. And Alpha's rejection was not enough. He had to erase the stain of my existence completely. You are a blight on this pack, he declared, his voice ringing with absolute authority. Your weakness will not be tolerated. You are banished. Leave this territory by sunrise, or my warriors will hunt you down like the stray cur you are. Exile. It was a death sentence. A wolfless lone female had no chance in the wilds, where rival packs and feral beasts roamed. He was not just rejecting me. He was murdering me, slowly and publicly. I looked into his eyes one last time, searching for a flicker of regret, of shared pain from the bond he had just shattered. I found nothing, only the cold, hard certainty of a ruler making a calculated decision. I was a political liability, and he had cut me loose. I turned and fled. I did not run with the speed of a wolf, but with the desperate, ragged flight of a broken thing. Their laughter followed me, a chorus of jeers and insults that chased me from the clearing, out of the dens, and past the borders of the only home I had ever known. The pain in my chest was a living entity, a clawed beast trying to tear its way out. The broken bond ached, a phantom limb that would never heal. Each step took me further into the darkness, the scent of my pack fading behind me, replaced by the cold, indifferent scent of the deep woods. For days I wandered. I lived on nuts and bitter roots, my stomach a hollow cavern of hunger and grief. The nights were the worst. The cold seeped into my bones, a deep, unrelenting chill that no amount of shivering could ward off. Loneliness was a physical weight, pressing down on me, suffocating me. I was utterly, completely alone. I thought of letting the forest take me, of simply lying down and letting the cold or the hunger or a predator finish what Kyle had started. It would be easy. It would be a relief. I collapsed at the base of a gnarled oak, my body giving out. Rain began to fall, cold and merciless, soaking my thin tunic and plastering my hair to my skin. This is it, I thought. This is rock bottom, the end. I closed my eyes, ready to surrender. But then, something stirred. Deep within the silence of my soul, in the place where my wolf should have been, a flicker of warmth ignited. It was not a beast's growl or a wolf's howl. It was something else, quieter, older, a stubborn, resilient ember of pure will. Survive. The command was not a voice, but an instinct, a primal directive that pulsed through my veins. It was my own. It had always been my own. I had been weak, and I had been scorned, but I was not broken. Not yet. Slowly, painfully, I pushed myself up. My hands sank into the wet mud, and I felt a strange thrum of energy from the earth itself, a whisper of life flowing into me. I would not die for his pride. I would not be his victim. I would live. 3 years later, the forest is no longer my enemy. It is my domain. The girl who fled the Shadow Moon Pack is gone, buried under layers of muscle and scars and hard-won knowledge. I learned the language of the birds, the secrets of the trees, the ways of the hunter and the hunted. My senses, not blunted by a wolf's powerful but narrow instincts, became preternaturally sharp. I can smell a storm on the wind hours before it arrives. Feel the vibrations of a deer's hoofbeats through the soles of my feet. See the faintest trail in the dimmest light. The wolfless girl had died, and in her place stood a woman who belonged to no one but herself and the wild. My home is a hidden grove, a place untouched by the changing seasons, where ancient stones hum with a quiet energy. It was here, in my first year of exile, that I found him, an old man sitting on a moss-covered log, his back to me. He was thin, his clothes little more than rags, and a strip of cloth was tied over his eyes. He did not react as I approached, but I knew he was aware of me. There was a stillness about him, a coiled power that belied his frail appearance. He was a shifter. I could smell it, but his scent was old, faded, like dried herbs and ancient stone. I had little to spare, but I offered him half of the rabbit I had caught. He accepted it with a silent nod. I came back the next day, and the next. We rarely spoke, but a routine formed between us. I would hunt, and we would share the meal in quiet companionship. His blindness did not seem to be a weakness. He moved through the grove with an uncanny grace, his hands mapping the world around him. His name, he eventually told me, was Alaric. One evening, as we sat by a small fire, he turned his blindfolded face toward me. "You are wolfless," he stated, not as a question or an insult, but as a simple fact. "I am," I replied, my voice tight. The word still carried the sting of shame. "That is not a weakness, child," he said, his voice a low rumble. "The wolf is a powerful gift, but it is also a cage. It narrows the world to the pack, to the alpha, to instinct. You have been forced to see with different eyes, to feel the world as it truly is. There is a power in that, a power older than the wolf." He began to train me. He taught me that my connection to the earth was not a fluke. It was a dormant magic, a primal connection to the true wild that flowed through my bloodline. My wolflessness was not an absence of power, but the presence of a different kind. He taught me to draw strength from the soil, to quiet my mind and listen to the whispers of the wind, to weave the life force of the forest into a shield or a weapon. I learned to heal with a touch, to encourage plants to grow, to become invisible in the shadows of the trees. I was not a wolf, but I was something more. I was a guardian of this ancient place, my power rooted in the very ground beneath my feet. I had found my own pack, my own strength, my own purpose. My name is Kale, and I am a fool. For 3 years, that truth has been my constant companion, a wolf of its own that gnaws at my insides. My beast, the proud, powerful lichen that won me my alpha status, is my tormentor. Every night it howls in the prison of my mind, a ceaseless lament for the mate I threw away. Mine, ours, gone. It paces the cage of my ribs, radiating a cold fury that seeps into my bones. The alpha, who commands the loyalty of 100 wolves, cannot command the respect of his own soul. I have not known a full night's sleep since she left. I lie on the alpha's furs, the scent of a dozen willing females in the den, and all I can smell is pine and winter air. A ghost scent that haunts me, a promise of a peace I will never know. I have tried to take other partners, to move on, to fulfill my duty and secure an heir for the pack. But my body rejects them. My beast surfaces with a snarl, refusing to claim anyone but its chosen mate, the one I named nothing, the one I cast out. My pack suffers from my pride. Without a true Luna, the heart of the pack is hollow. The bonds are weaker, the hunts less successful, the pups born smaller. A subtle sickness has taken root. The elders whisper behind their hands, their eyes full of judgment. They were the ones who urged me to reject her, to choose a high-born female with a strong wolf. But now they see the price of my choice. The goddess does not gift a fated mate lightly, and she does not forgive one who spurns that gift. The whispering blight came a year ago. It started at the edges of our territory, a creeping rot that leached the color from the leaves and turned the soil to dust. Animals fled from it, and the air grew thick with the smell of decay. Now, it encroaches on the heart of our lands. Wolves who patrol the border fall ill, their coats thinning, their strength draining away until they are little more than breathing skeletons. Our healers have no remedies. My alpha strength, my raw physical power, is useless against this creeping death. It is a spiritual sickness, an ancient evil, and we are losing. Desperate, I consulted the oldest texts in our archives. They spoke of a blight like this once before, centuries ago, that was defeated not by an alpha's fangs, but by a wild healer, one who could command the life force of the earth itself. The legends say they were shifters whose wolves slept, allowing them a deeper connection to the land. Wolfless. The word is a brand on my soul. Rumors have reached me from traveling loners. They speak of a woman in the deep woods, a powerful hermit who lives in an unblighted grove. They call her the Witch of the Woods, a guardian who can heal the sick and command the beasts. They say she is beautiful, formidable, and utterly ruthless to those who disrespect her domain. A desperate, impossible hope takes root in my heart. It is a fool's hope, but I am already a fool. I have to find her. I have to see. It is during this time, as I learn to wield my new power, that I meet Reese. He stumbles into my grove, not with the arrogance of a warrior, but with the quiet desperation of a leader trying to save his people. He is the alpha of a small, displaced pack, their lands lost to a rival clan. He is looking for a safe place for his family to shelter. He is tall and lean, with kind eyes and a scent of riverstone and mint. His wolf is calm, steady, a gentle strength that is the antithesis of Kale's raging storm. He does not see a wolfless Omega. He sees a woman of power. He watches me coax herbs from the ground and soothe a fever in one of his pups with a simple touch. He looks at me with an awe and respect I have never known. He does not try to command me or possess me. He simply asks for my help, offering his pack's loyalty in return. "You are remarkable," he tells me one evening, his voice soft. "The way the forest listens to you, it is a magic I have only heard of in stories." For the first time in my life, I feel seen, truly seen. Reese and his small pack stay, settling near the edge of my grove. He is patient, kind. He brings me wildflowers. He tells me stories of his old home. He represents a life I never thought possible. A peaceful, quiet existence built on mutual respect. A safe harbor. My heart, so long frozen, begins to thaw in the gentle warmth of his attention. There is no searing spark, no soul-deep jolt like the one I felt with Kyle. There is only a steady, comforting glow. It is not a faded bond, but perhaps, I tell myself, it is better. It is a choice. The first sign of Kyle's approach is the scent. Wood smoke and lightning. The smell tears through the peaceful air of my grove like a physical blow. It hits me with the force of a tidal wave, dragging up 3 years of buried pain and rage. The broken bond inside me, a dormant scar, shrieks to life, an agony of phantom sensation that makes me double over, gasping. "Mate!" The whisper is not mine. It is the bond itself, a cursed, undying thing. I straighten, my hands clenched into fists. My power rises to meet me, the life force of the grove coiling around me like a protective serpent. I will not be that broken girl again. I am not his to command, not his to discard. This is my territory. He comes here as a supplicant, or he does not come at all. He breaks through the trees, followed by 2 of his best warriors. He has changed. There are dark circles under his eyes, and his face is leaner, harder. The arrogant certainty he once wore like a cloak is gone, replaced by a desperate, haunted look. But he is still the alpha, his presence a crushing weight of authority. His eyes find me, and I see the same shock that was on his face 3 years ago. But this time, it is mixed with a dawning, horrified recognition. "Ilara?" His voice is a choked whisper. The bond flares between us, a visible shimmer in the air. The pain is excruciating, a raw, open wound being salted. His 2 warriors gasp, stumbling back as the raw power of a rejected alpha mate bond floods the clearing. Kyle stumbles forward, his hand outstretched, his face a mask of disbelief and a pain that mirrors my own. "It is you," he breathes, "the witch of the woods. It's you." My wolf. I remember his beast howled for me once. Now I feel only silence within me, a cold, hard wall of it. "Alpha Kyle," I say, and my voice is the chill of winter frost. "You are trespassing." His eyes, a stormy gray I once dreamed of, are filled with a maelstrom of emotions. Regret, longing, pain, so much pain. Good. Let him feel a fraction of what I felt. Let him drown in it. "Ilara, I didn't know." "What did you not know?" I ask, my voice dangerously soft. "That the Omega you threw away to die would fail to do so? You seem disappointed." "No," he says, shaking his head, his gaze locked on mine. "Never. Ilara, my pack. We are dying. A blight is destroying our lands. The legends say only a wild healer can stop it. They say it must be someone wolfless. The irony is so thick I could choke on it. The very thing he cast me out for is the one thing he now desperately needs. And you come to me for aid?" I give a short, bitter laugh. The nothing you banished? The weakness you could not tolerate? Why would I help the man who destroyed my life? Because it is not just my life, he pleads, taking another step closer. It is the lives of the entire pack. Pups, elders, innocents. They will die because of my mistake. Please, I am begging you. He, Alpha Kill, is begging. The sight is both sickening and deeply satisfying. This is the power shift, the reversal of our fortunes. Here in my grove, surrounded by my power, I am the Alpha. He is the one on his knees. I feel the rage and the pain of 3 years cresting inside me, a black wave poised to crash. My power surges, the trees around us groaning, the leaves rustling with my anger. You come into my home and speak of innocence. I hiss, my voice dropping to a low snarl that feels almost wolf-like. There was an innocent girl 3 years ago who begged you for mercy with her eyes, and you showed her none. You humiliated her. You sentenced her to death. Where was your concern for innocence then? He flinches as if I had struck him. I know. Goddess, I know. There is no excuse. There is nothing I can say to undo what I did. I was a proud, arrogant fool. I have lived with that truth every single day. My wolf has never let me forget it. Just then, Reese steps out from behind the ancient stones, drawn by the commotion. He places a steadying hand on my shoulder, his presence a calm anchor in my storm of rage. His scent, clean and steady, mixes with the chaotic tempest of Kale's. Kale's eyes snap to Reese's hand on my shoulder. A low, guttural growl rumbles in his chest, so deep and primal it shakes the very air. It is not the growl of an alpha asserting dominance. It is the sound of a male beast seeing another near his mate, possessive, murderous. His eyes flash with the silver of his lichen. Mine. The word slams into my mind, not from him, but from the bond itself. A possessive feral claim that I have no part in. Reese does not back down. He simply stands beside me, a quiet protector. She is not yours to command, Shadow Moon Alpha. Reese says, his voice even, you gave up that right. The tension in the clearing becomes unbearable. Two alphas, one a king of a vast territory, the other a leader of a small band of survivors, facing off over me. And I, the wolfless Omega, am the one holding all the power. The situation is so absurd, it's almost laughable. Kale's gaze is locked on me, pleading, desperate, and filled with a jealous rage that is terrifying, and, to my shame, a little thrilling. He is suffering. I can see it. I can feel it through the bond, a feedback loop of his agony pouring into me. It is everything I ever wanted, and it is not enough. You will leave my grove, Kyle, I command, my voice leaving no room for argument. Both of you. I gesture to his warriors. You will camp at the edge of the forest. I will consider your request. But if you take one step back into this sacred place without my permission, I will let the forest swallow you whole. I promise you that. He stares at me for a long moment, his jaw working. The alpha in him wants to refuse, to challenge, to command. But the broken man inside him knows he has no ground to stand on. Finally, with a visible effort, he gives a stiff, jerky nod. He turns and stalks away, his warriors following, the air crackling with his frustrated power. When he is gone, the strength drains out of me and I lean heavily against Reese. The pain of the bond recedes to a dull, throbbing ache. Reese holds me gently. Are you all right? No, I whisper honestly. I do not think I will ever be all right again. The blight is spreading faster than Kale described. I can feel it now, a sickening wrongness at the edge of my senses, a cry of pain from the earth itself. It is a cancer on the land, and if it reaches my grove, it will destroy this last sanctuary. My personal feelings for Kale are a luxury I can no longer afford. We are forced into a tense, unwilling alliance. He abides by my rules. He and his warriors remain at the edge of the woods, and he comes to my grove only when I summon him. We work together. My knowledge of the wild and his pack's strength are only weapons. The proximity is a special kind of torture. The bond between us is a live wire, constantly humming, sparking with pain and a deep, traitorous longing whenever we are near. We speak only when necessary, our conversations clipped and formal, but the air around us is thick with everything left unsaid. I see the way he watches me, his eyes filled with a desperate hunger and a self-loathing so profound it is almost pitiable. He sees me talking with Reese, sees the easy companionship we share, and the jealousy that rolls off him is a palpable heat. One night, he requests to speak with me alone. Alaric, my wise, quiet mentor, sits silently by the fire, his presence a comforting weight. Reese has taken his pack on a scouting mission to the south. The moon is full, casting silver light over the grove. Kyle stands before me, stripped of his alpha arrogance, looking like a man walking to his own execution. I cannot do this anymore, Ilara, he begins, his voice rough with emotion. This, this polite distance. I need you to know. I need to say it. He takes a deep breath, and the words pour out of him, a torrent of confession held back for 3 long years. I was a coward. I stood on that rock, and I felt the bond snap into place. And it was the most terrifying and wonderful thing I had ever felt. My beast was screaming for me to go to you, to claim you. But I looked at my elders, at the pack, and all I could think about was my father. He gestures vaguely toward the darkness. He was a strong alpha, but they said he ruled with his heart, not his head. He was deposed, exiled, for making a choice that was seen as weak. I swore I would never be him. I would be stronger, smarter. I would put the pack's perceived needs above all else. When I saw you, so small, so gentle, and wolfless, I was afraid. I was terrified they would see you as my weakness, that they would say I was just like my father. So I did the unthinkable. I broke the most sacred law. I broke you. I broke myself. I broke my pack, all for pride. He sinks to his knees before me, his head bowed, the proud alpha king, kneeling in the dirt. Every day since has been a torment, a hell of my own making. I deserve it. I deserve every second of it. I am not asking for your forgiveness. I have no right. I just needed you to know the truth. The pathetic, cowardly truth. Section. At that moment, Alaric stands up. He moves with a slow, deliberate grace and reaches out, pulling the blindfold from his eyes. His eyes are clouded, pale, but they are focused directly on Kyle. Kyle looks up, his face paling in shock. "Father?" He chokes out, scrambling backward. "So," Alaric says, his voice rumbling with the quiet authority of a king long unseen. "This is the strong alpha you have become, the one who breaks fated bonds and banishes women to die, the one who brings ruin to his own land. You feared becoming me? Kyle, you have become a monster I would never have been." The shame that floods Kyle's face is absolute. He is utterly broken, exposed before his exiled father and the mate he rejected. the two people whose judgment now mean more than anything. He cannot speak, can only stare in horror at the scene before him. Alaric turns his clouded gaze to me. This is my son, Ilara, the one who traded his soul for a crown. The choice of what to do with him and his broken pack is yours. I will support whatever you decide. When Rhys returns, he finds the grove steeped in a new, heavy silence. He finds me staring into the fire, my face grim. He finds Kale sitting alone at the edge of the woods, a man hollowed out by his own confession. Rhys comes to me, his expression gentle. I saw him, Rhys says quietly. The way he looks at you, the way the air crackles when you are near. I have felt the power of a fated bond before, from a distance. I have never seen one so strong, even broken. He reaches out and gently touches my cheek. My pack and I, we were looking for a home, a place to be safe. But I was also looking for a partner, an equal, and I found one in you, Ilara. He sighs, a sad, resigned sound. But your heart is not a safe harbor. It is a battlefield, and I am a man of peace. I cannot compete with a storm like that. He may have broken your heart, but he is still the only one who holds all the pieces. To stay here, to ask you to choose me, would be asking you to settle for less than what fate intended for you. And I respect you far too much to do that. Tears well in my eyes, for his kindness, for the simple, peaceful future I am losing. Rhys, shh, he says, smiling sadly. You deserve a love that burns like a star, Ilara, not one that smolders safely in the hearth. Go fight your war. Win it, on your own terms. He leans in and kisses my forehead, a chaste, final goodbye. Be well, guardian of the grove. The next morning, he and his pack are gone. He has left gracefully, with a dignity that Kal, for all his power, has never possessed. He has given me a gift, freedom, the freedom to face my past without the complication of a safe future to run to. Now, there is only the blight, and there is only Kale. The blight is no longer creeping, it is surging. A wave of black, creeping rot that consumes everything in its path. Alaric tells us its source must be a corrupted spirit, an ancient wolf whose heart was twisted by some great betrayal. It now seeks to make the whole world as dead and empty as its own soul. The heart of the Shadow Moon territory is its target, the place where the pack's life force is strongest. There is a ritual, Alaric explains, his voice grave. It requires 2 anchors, one of the wild to channel the life force of the earth, and one of the wolf to channel the spirit of the pack. Together, you can create a wave of purifying energy. It will either heal the corrupted spirit or destroy it. I will be the anchor of the wild, I say, my resolve hardening. And I, the wolf, Kyle adds, his voice steady for the first time in days. It is not so simple, Alaric warns. The corrupted spirit will fight back. It will pour all its poison, all its despair, into the wolf anchor. It is an agony that can shatter the mind and soul of the strongest alpha. To give the wild anchor the time she needs to complete the ritual, the wolf anchor must not only withstand the poison, but draw it in, becoming a vessel for the blight. It is almost certainly a death sentence. We stand at the precipice of the final battle. The pack is gathered at the base of the Alpha's rock, the place where I was rejected. The land around us is gray and dying, the air thick with the stench of decay. A shadowy, vaguely wolf-shaped creature of nightmare coalesces before us. Its form made of swirling dust and blighted leaves. This is the source of the corruption. The pack wolves whimper and fall back, their instincts screaming at them to flee. Carl steps forward, his eyes locked on the creature. Then he turns to me. The time for words is over. Front of his entire pack. In the very front of his entire pack. In the very place where he shamed me, he drops to his knees. He bows his head, then slowly, deliberately, bares his throat in the ultimate gesture of lupine submission. His voice is quiet, but it carries across the deadened landscape, meant for me, for his pack, for the goddess herself. Ilara, he says, his voice thick with an emotion so raw it makes my own throat ache. I was wrong. I was a fool. I was a coward. I broke my vow to you and to the goddess. I failed you. I failed my pack. I failed myself. He looks up and his eyes are shining with unshed tears, but his gaze is steady. My arrogance has brought this ruin upon us. It is only right that I pay the price. He gestures to the monstrous blight. I will be the vessel. I will draw its poison into me. I will give you the time you need. But I need you to know this is not a transaction. I am not doing this to earn your forgiveness. That is something I will spend the rest of my life trying to do. Whether that life is 5 more minutes or 50 more years. I am doing this because it is the right thing to do. Because it is my duty to protect this pack and to protect you. He takes my hand and places it on his bared throat, over his pulse. My life, my power, my pack, it is all yours. It always has been. If you want vengeance, command me to die, and I will do it gladly. If you want to save these people, command me to fight, and I will be your shield. The choice is yours. It has always been your choice. I was just too blind and stupid to see it. This is it, the grovel. It is more complete, more devastating, more sincere than I could have ever imagined. He is offering me everything, his life, his death, his pack, absolute power over him, with no expectation of anything in return. He has finally become the man worthy of the bond, just in time to die. My heart, which I thought had turned to stone, cracks. A single tear traces a path through the grime on my cheek. The arrogant alpha who broke me is well and truly gone. In his place is a man who understands the meaning of sacrifice. A man who is willing to burn to give me light. And in that moment, I know my choice. The war inside me is over. Your command. I am not commanding you. Your command. I am not commanding you, I say, my voice growing stronger. I am asking you, as my partner, as my mate, fight with me. Hope, fierce and blinding, dawns on his face. He doesn't move. He waits. He needs to hear it. I accept you, Kale, I say, my voice ringing with newfound clarity. I accept this bond. I choose you. The moment the words leave my lips, the fractured bond between us does not just heal. It explodes. A supernova of golden light erupts from our joined hands. A wave of pure energy that slams into the pack, into the land, into the very sky. The pain that has been my constant companion for 3 years vanishes, replaced by a feeling of wholeness so profound it brings me to my knees. I feel his strength pouring into me, the raw power of the alpha, and he feels mine, the steady, ancient life force of the earth. We are 2 halves of a single soul, finally reunited. He rises, pulling me to my feet. We turn to face the blight spirit, no longer as 2 separate beings, but as one united force. Together, he growls, and the word is a sacred vow. Together, I echo. I close my eyes, reaching down with my senses, drawing on the power of the grove, of the deep earth. I pull up the life force, a torrent of green and golden energy, and channel it through myself. Kyle stands at my back, a solid wall of strength, and I feel him tap into the pack bond, drawing on their collective spirit, their loyalty, their love for their home. He becomes a conduit, a funnel for the primal spirit of the wolf. The blight spirit shrieks and lunges, pouring its necrotic energy toward us. Kyle takes the brunt of it. He grunts in pain as the poison hits him, but he does not falter. He is the shield. He takes the death, the despair, the rot, and through our completed bond, I feed him the life force of the earth, cleansing him as quickly as the poison enters. It is a perfect, terrifying symbiosis. Our powers merge. My wild magic, green and vibrant, twines with his alpha power, silver and electric. We are a whirlwind of creation and dominion, of nature and instinct. I am the earth. He is the storm. We raise our joined hands, and the combined energy shoots from us, not as a weapon of destruction, but as a wave of pure, concentrated life. It hits the blight spirit. The creature does not explode or disintegrate, it stills. The swirling shadows calm. A soft, sorrowful light begins to glow from within its chest. The wave of our power is not killing it, it is healing it. It is cleansing the ancient betrayal that corrupted it, soothing the centuries of pain. The monstrous form dissolves, not into dust, but into a shower of glowing seeds that drift down onto the blighted land. Where each seed touches the ground, a patch of green grass instantly springs up, a wild flower blooms. The wave of healing radiates outward from us, washing over the territory, turning the gray dust back into rich soil, the skeletal trees bursting with new leaves. The stench of rot is replaced by the sweet smell of rain and fertile earth. The pack stares in awe as their home is reborn before their eyes. The wolves who were sick rise to their feet, their strength returning, their coats regaining their luster. The land is not just restored, it is more vibrant, more alive than it has ever been. When it is over, we stand in a field of new flowers, panting and drained, but utterly, incandescently whole. Kale turns to me, his eyes full of a love and reverence that steals my breath. He gently cups my face, his thumb tracing the line of my jaw. My Luna, he breathes, as if the word is the most sacred prayer he knows. We return to the pack, hand in hand. Kyle leads me to the Alpha Rock, and we stand upon it together. He addresses his people, his voice ringing with a new kind of authority, one born not of pride, but of humility and wisdom. 3 years ago, on this rock, I made the greatest mistake of my life, he says, his gaze sweeping over the crowd. I rejected the goddess's gift. I cast out the woman who was our pack's heart, our salvation. Today, I correct that wrong. He turns to me, his voice softening. Ilara is not just my mate. She is your alpha queen. Her power is not a weakness. It is a strength our pack has never known. Her wisdom will be my guide. Her word will be my law. We will rule together, as equals. A cheer erupts from the pack, a genuine joyous sound of a people whose hope has been restored. They howl their approval, a beautiful chorus welcoming their new queen. They see me now, not as the wolfless Omega, but as the woman who saved them all, partially restored by the wave of healing, partially restored by the wave of healing magic. He no longer hides his face, his counsel, now a respected voice among the elders. He looks at Kyle and me with a quiet pride. Kyle and I stand on a ridge overlooking our home. The bond between us is no longer a painful, searing thing. It is a quiet, steady hum beneath my skin, a constant reassurance of his presence, his love. He wraps his arms around me from behind, resting his chin on my shoulder. His scent of wood smoke and lightning is no longer a threat, but the deepest comfort I have ever known. I still don't feel like I deserve this, he murmurs into my hair. After everything I did, I turn in his arms and place a hand on his heart. I can feel the steady beat, in sync with my own. You are not the man who hurt me, Kyle. He is gone. You are the man who knelt. You are the man who was willing to die for me. That is the man I chose. That is the man I love. His eyes shine and he leans down to kiss me. The kiss is not one of desperate hunger or painful longing. It is a kiss of peace, of homecoming. It is a promise of a future we will build together. We are scarred, yes. The memory of the wound will always be a part of our story. But we are not broken. We are earned. We are whole. And our love, forged in the fires of rejection and redemption, is the strongest magic of all.